Hey, welcome to another episode on the Growth Leadership Cafe. My name is Adesoa, your lovely host. And on this channel, I talk about all things personal and organizational leadership. This channel is dedicated to folks who are new or growing in their leadership journey, either as an entrepreneur with a growing team, or if you're in paid employment and you're just getting into managerial roles. Today, I am talking about how to receive feedback. Last week, I talked about how to give constructive feedback. And this time around, I wanted to flip that on its head and speak about how to receive feedback. Because personally, I feel as leaders, there is a certain expectation of leaders that you're meant to have the right answers. You should know what you're doing. You should always have well thought out plans. So if you're given direction, that direction should be the proper direction. And not always. Leaders are humans too, and we have flaws and we make mistakes too, and we make bad decisions, even in instances where we feel like we've thought things out through. So as a result, we are going to encounter times where it's our error, our actions or inactions that resulted in something not working out as planned. Speaking from experience, I've been there. I've been in those situations where I'm like, oops, that was my mistake, right? And I've had some of, the people on my team come to me and say, hey, Adesoa, I noticed that you did X, Y, and Z. And I'll be honest, it's hard to take. And it's not even necessarily because it's a subordinate who brings that to you and identifies your mistake. It's just hard to take feedback, especially feedback that is not positive. And it's even worse when it's not delivered properly and, sensitively and delicately. And so the focus of today is really to speak about, the challenges that are associated with that, and to normalize the feelings that come with, receiving feedback. So someone comes to you and says, Adesoa, it's your mistake that resulted in this, and it's hard to take. Let's just put that out there. It's hard to take. What makes that situation is our response to that situation, because ultimately we owe it to ourselves to still be responsible in our delivery, even when feedback is not constructive or was not delivered properly to us. So we all have our emotional response to triggering situations. So for some people, they're in flight mode, they're ready to go hide under cover. Some people are in fight mode, they're ready to get defensive. And some people just freeze, And so depending on what that looks like for you, I want you to know that that's normal. That's okay. We have our emotional response to emotionally triggering situations, especially when people are calling out our flaws or our mistakes. So instead of us, which is a natural human instinct, is to protect, is to self-protect, is to defend ourselves, that sense of safety. And so there is that possibility or that impulse to want to get defensive or deny or hide. This is what I want you to do instead. I want us to be more aware of ourselves and how we respond to things. It's good to know what your dominant traits are, whether it's flight, freeze, fight, whatever those things are. So it's easy for you to catch yourself when those things are happening, or when you're thrust into that situation and you're like, what's my next line of action? What am I going to say to this person that is not going to escalate the situation, but more so put it to bed? So first things first, understand that you're going to make mistakes. No one's perfect. We're all human. We have flaws. And people are going to call that out. It's different when we call out our mistakes, and I would encourage everyone, myself included, to own up to our mistakes when they happen, because it's easier to walk through it than having someone come to you and say X, Y, and Z, calling out your mistakes. It's easier when you can go to your team and say, hey guys, this was my mistake. That was my error. I apologize for it. There's just strength in that sort of vulnerability. You would actually earn more respect from your team when they see that you're not above making mistakes, and you're not above, flagging your own mistakes and calling yourself out. They would be more inclined to do so too. You're creating that sense of safety for them to feel like, yes, if my leader, my manager makes a mistake and she's okay, or he's comfortable owning up to it and taking responsibility for it, I can do that too. Okay, so first things first, just know that, recognize that you will make mistakes. Secondly is, if you know you made a mistake, just say it. I know it's tough depending on the severity of it, but would you rather hide and deny and do all that than actually just owning up to it and let everyone's mind be in, okay, what are the next steps? How do we rectify this? What are the ways to mitigate the extent of the impact of whatever the outcome was, right? So that's first things first. Secondly, if someone approaches you, maybe your direct report comes to you and is saying things like, oh, Adesua, you shouldn't have done this. This is what happened, yada, yada, yada. If you feel heated, if you're feeling like you're already emotionally charged and you want to respond, first of all, that's normal. That's okay. But I want you to catch yourself and just think, what can I do differently here? And this is what you can do differently. If you feel like, because when we're emotionally charged, we're not rational at that point. And it takes a moment, and it takes skill to regulate ourselves in order to be able to respond accordingly. So if you feel like you're already emotionally charged, you don't have to say anything right away. It's okay to say, you know what? Thank you for saying that to me. What you've said has brought up feelings for me right now, and I need a moment. Okay, so I will come find you in the next 1 hour or 2 hours or tomorrow, whatever that timeline looks like for you. Take that and just let them know that you will come to them and you guys will finish the conversation. Don't feel the need to have an immediate response, especially when you feel like, you don't have the right words, or you don't have the nicest or the most positive thing to say at that point. Don't say anything. Just tell them how you're feeling. So this has brought up feelings for me. You don't even necessarily have to name those feelings, right? That's for you to know and for you to walk through. But if you need to physically remove yourself from that situation, do that. The second thing I would say that you could do when things like this happen is, if you feel like maybe the person doesn't have their facts right and it was actually not your mistake, and again, thank them for feeling safe enough to share that with you. And even if they did not deliver it properly, you can let them know, what, actually, it's good that you brought this up. We were actually able to resolve this, and this was the cause of what happened, yada yada, and just explain. There's no harm in doing that. It doesn't need to be confrontational. It can be as simple as explaining that, what, I know this is what it may have seemed like, but actually, upon further investigation, this is what it actually is. This is what actually happened. Okay, and that can just put that conversation to rest. Okay, the third thing you can do if you know it was actually your mistake and you know yeah, that it was you, acknowledge it. You know, like, thank you for saying that to me. Just respond, thank you for saying that to me, and oh my God, like, this was definitely my mistake. I was thinking about this, and you know, I know next time that this is what I need to do differently. Like, own it, acknowledge it, you know, and again, you're going to get more respect from that person when they know that, okay, I said this to her, this one, this was her response. Again, it doesn't need to be confrontational. I wanted to keep this video short, so that's really all I have to say today, guys. If you feel like this was helpful for you, I'd say give this video a like. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Is this something you've experienced? I would like you to, now thinking about this, I would like you to actually put pen to paper and write down in your own words, what was that, identify that one situation that you feel like your response wasn't as positive. We all have those moments of poor judgment and poor, you know, responses. I've been there, I know. But I want you to actually now reflect on it again and think about what are the words I could have used instead, and actually write your response down in that situation. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts are, if this was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments below, and most importantly, you can subscribe and let me know that you appreciate the content coming out of my channel. And I will see you on the next episode.